Hello again. Let's try adding data again. Oh my god. Tag friends, add friend, your viewers. Okay, invite. Great. Facebook God, make it happen.
Yes.
Hello! Oh my god. This was harder than we're on
Hi, Luca.
Facebook Live. So you're only half on the camera. That's better.
Yeah, so I don't know how to put it yet. So,
So let's introduce. I wanted to invite Bernadette to talk about the importance of brotherhood and sisterhood in relationships. So we're just going to have a conversation about that
yep.
uh, and see where goes.
hmm
Um, so yeah, why don't we just start with um, talking about what is your experience of just a sisterhood and relationships, and why do you think it's important?
My experience is I went through many, many relationships with, I think I told you this about having the other person as my main source of reflection, attention, like everything was directed to the other person. And only when I started in the own community and in other communities actually is where it started like shifting, where I started having people where I could express who I were and connect and have a relationship, not a necessarily a romantic or sexual relationship, but where they became a source of reflection. And it was not like a, one step and I'm there. It was a gradual position, but to the point that right now it feels even really odd to even attempt to have a personal a partner as a source of reflection, in a strict sense, in the old way. Sometimes I feel really weird. It's like, you know, I don't know. There are no models I can copy because everywhere you go, you watch TV and you see where the partner is the main source of that, where everything gets, and I'm like, I don't live like that. I don't necessarily know how to exist that in that way anymore. And what I've got from having a sisterhood, which means women who are willing to tell me the truth. And I'm willing to trust that they're saying the things that they're saying because they love me. I think this is important. It's both ways. Like they're willing to tell me the truth, and I'm willing to trust that this is not a mind game. This is not because they want to poke me. Is they are actually they have my best interest in mind, and I'm willing to receive that because those two things are very difficult. It took me years to get to the point where any of my female friends that are part of this my own sisterhood says something, I don't go into like no fuck you because it's there, but I'm like, I know this person and I trust that they are doing it because they love me.
Yeah. It's interesting because I have been thinking about this uh, for a while, especially in terms of relationship. You know, obviously, brotherhood is really important for men,
hmm
and part of that is this idea of approval, like as
hmm
men, as men, there's a big piece where we make the women in our relationship the main source of
hmm
emotional connection,
and
right?
approval.
And approval,
Yeah.
and the idea of brotherhood or having other men around us is that we can share some of our emotions and our the challenges and the things that we're going through with other men, so that it's a place where we can uh, you know just like let stuff out
hmm
and not bring into the relationship, and also get some of that approval juice from other men, as opposed to like continuously looking at our relationship or women to give us that sense of approval, because then it becomes a a different kind of like, mothering relationship, for example. And
Mm-hmm.
I also want to say, I think there's this idea that I believe that both are needed. I think
Mm-hmm.
there's a type of approval that I suppose is only available in relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So having a healthy dose of both, that is important. But the thing that I have been thinking about is that there's a place where I can come into a relationship and and like the idea of sort of being masculine penetration,
Mm-hmm.
bringing that in, and I can only bring that to a level after which it starts to take more energy
Mm-hmm.
than
Mm-hmm.
is needed. And I've been finding that when I'm in relationship, you gotta have uh, like women have to have their own sisterhood and a group of women, as you said, like where they can A, someone you can trust, and B, you can um, like really get that true reflection from to
Mm-hmm.
bring into relationship. And just I wanted to I'm curious, do you have such a sisterhood or a group of women around you?
Yes, yes. Um, and it took me quite a while to build it, because I had the disease of nobody can penetrate me. It's so hard. Only like my teachers. It's a disease because it makes life very very hard because I didn't have the willingness to open up and to learn to
Yes.
penetrate myself and to allow penetration. And then I put all that weight on the other person, on the relationship, like the same way that you want the source of approval. Sorry, there is a bunny here trying to interact with my feet. um, that the in relationship, one of the 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 things that happen is that the source of approval of a man becomes their partner, the woman,
Right.
and the source of attention becomes the man. Like, I want to have all his attention on me, and he's the only one who can see me. He's the only one who can penetrate me, and to actually starting moving from that to saying, no, there are a lot of people who can't see you and penetrate you. It's just that I didn't want anybody else. I was attached to that thing, and to have, yes, there is a level that once you're not attached to that, he has to be the one to see me. Whatever comes from that is very nurturing because there is it's fully desire based. Like, he wants to see me and put attention, and then he penetrates, but there is no me clinging onto that. And
Hmm.
he's not the only source for that, but it took a while for me to have the willingness. And to be honest, I must say that I had friends, not people who I was in a relationship, male friends, who were the first people to tell me, like, you need to learn to take the stroke. You learn to learn to take the truth. And I'm very grateful for when they told me that, because then I started looking at the women, and from the women, what I get that penetration is they've been in the same location I have been, so
Hmm.
they know, because they know how it feels. They know, like, they're not talking out of from a book or some story. Is that level of reflection that has a flavor of the feminine. And I guess for a man, the brotherhood has that flavor. Like, I'm a man and I've been in that same location, and I know, I see and I feel what you feel, and now I'm
Yeah.
gonna deliver some nice truth.
Right. Yeah, and it's funny. I think it gets to a point where what do you think are the challenges in that? Like for me as a man,
Mhm,
I know that the challenge is um, around vulnerability.
mhm,
Like when a group of men connect with each other, the vulnerability is seen as kind of weakness. It's like, oh, if
mhm,
I really get vulnerable in front of people, are they going to laugh at me? And so there's like usually men walk around with like a sense of defense mechanism in a wall there, and it takes a while to break that down. And even then, uh, it tends to be that our conversation become very like bravado based, or we will
Mm-hmm.
go and start talking about sports or politics and stuff like that. That's the way to connect.
Mm-hmm.
And I have definitely been part of the men's groups
Mm-hmm.
where you can actually, I've experienced that there's a way a man can approve another man
Mm-hmm.
that you cannot, that kind of approval you cannot get from anywhere else,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And however, the difficulty is to allow yourself to be vulnerable in that way. Oh, you got frozen. Are you still there?
I'm back. I'm back. It went away. I'm back. So you were saying.
Yeah, and I think that the difficulty is, I think our egos stop us from doing that. I think a lot of people don't even have the concept of men's group, or men can actually
Mm-hmm.
connect
Mm-hmm.
at that level. And even when we do, we're just naturally not inclined towards connection.
Mm-hmm.
So that seems to be the difficulty. But and at the same time, I've seen how a really closely knit men's group can be so helpful for men.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, like, what's the challenge for women there in terms of,
Yeah.
because
So.
my experience, and I just want to say this is a little slightly chargy thing, but my experience, my experience is that is not being able to tell the truth,
Mm-hmm.
especially in women. And I wonder if that feels resonant to you, and
Mm-hmm.
I would love if you want to talk about why that happens and what's the challenge there.
So, I agree. Like for the men, and this is my observation. Or very much on the outside, but also what you see in any popular culture is that the way men connect when they're having a situation is bravado and like. So, the feminine version, the one I've experienced, is uh, you know going in a supportive mode where you diss the man, like, oh, leave him, he's an asshole, or and in other situations, like, poor little you, and there's a level of lie there, and the difficulty is moving from that, because telling the truth is seen as you're an asshole, and
Hmm.
I had that working on me, that a woman who told me the truth was certainly an asshole, because how could she not be supportive of me, and that is difficult, because now when I'm on the other side and with people who are just learning to express, like, I'm the asshole, and I have to be okay with that, like, it's part of telling the truth is being for a moment the asshole who is the one who tells the truth, the one who is not like, you create, tells you, you created this, and I'm there with you in the whole, with all the feelings and all the emotions, but I'm not going to be pretending that you didn't have anything to do with it.
Hmm.
And that for me was very difficult, to for me receiving the truth from a woman especially. I had a lot of distrust, a lot of like, you're just saying that because you want something out of me. Like, I had a lot of distrust in any communication that came from a woman, and that made me also attached to the penetration that came from a man. I trusted men more than women, so they could tell
Hmm.
me the truth. But women, it was like, no, 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 I cannot get that. And I think that's an experience that you get, like, speaking of charges, when I go to some female groups, like, sister, they could call sisterhood as well, or women's group, and they're all speaking like that in this tone, and we're all like loving. I always like, you're not telling the truth, because I can see all these things they stay here, and they don't want to go into the dark pit of mystery where a lot of us live, and we need to be told that that's what's happening. So
Hmm.
it's so necessary, and the fact that you're a woman, or we're women, it doesn't mean that we have to stay in the lobbying friendly, like, no, no, no. Being a woman also means that you tell the hard truth, and to your sisters, they are going to be eventually grateful for it. But yeah, it's that it's a level of light, and now that I discuss this with you, there is a level of light that makes the sisterhood and the brotherhood difficult. For
Mm,
in your case, is the vulnerability, the being seen in that level of distress, and not going into bravado or jokes. And for women, it's not going into like poor little you. So it's a
got it.
thick level of lie going around on both sides.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think do you have a group of women that you
I yeah,
connect with,
and
or like a
mhm.
sisterhood?
Yes, I have um, um, a messenger group with one group of women that I connect constantly. I watch a group of a different set of women I connect constantly. I have my former Samaritan trainees so
Mm,
I have several clusters, but they're all women. And and
got it.
and their attention and their focus is sometimes different. They go in different areas, but I'm not short of women connection. And for the most part, the women I have the closest to me are the ones who are willing to tell me the truth. And you know, it's not something I would say that I wanted initially, but I realized I wanted when I got other things, and I was like, oh, this is really good. It's very hard to go around in the world without a good group of women who have your back, and
Mm,
have your back in more than one sense. Not only it's supportive, but have your back when you are going in a path of misery. You know, believing that, and they tell you like this. It's fine. Knowing that they will support you even if you go in that direction, but no, they're not gonna be. They're not gonna tell you the lie like they believe that this is gonna end up well. It's all it takes just to be honest. Like that's not gonna end up well, and I still love you. And if you go there, I'll support you.
right. Yeah, thanks for that. I um I was wondering how to leave this. Do you have like one thing you want to say just from your part? What should people look out for, or like what to do if they are willing to join or find women like that? Like what's the thing to look out for?
Find women who can tell you um, difficult truths in a loving way, and to find the women, start doing it yourself. Start telling the truth in the most loving way you can. And I cannot promise it will be easier, but it's worth it.
What's the worth it?
The worth it is that level of lie. When you exist in that level of lie where everybody is just super nice but not really, there with you, is um, there. You cannot lie to yourself, and
Hmm.
you detect that there is a level of uncertainty. Like, yeah, these people are nice to me, but when the shit hits the fan, I actually don't know if they're gonna be there.
Hmm.
And my experience is that when that happens with the people who you're willing to take their truth, because this is an honor, to receive somebody's truth and to take it in is an honor. It's just as an honor as it is to tell the truth. It's a privilege. It's something that most people don't experience in their lifetime.
Hmm.
It's a level of being seen and being received that it permeates in your body, and it gives you peace of mind. uh, I don't know how much it, that's gold. Happiness and peace of mind is the gold of our times. So if you have a mechanism that generates that consistently and continuously, what's there not to take?
Yeah, thanks. I agree with that. And I think I would just say that in a relationship, it's also that when you are able to get that emotional support, that level
Mm-hmm.
of truth and, you know, I guess companionship with,
Mm-hmm.
for men with other men, for women with other women, then you can come into a relationship with less of the need for your partner to fulfill that,
Mm-hmm.
and you can use that energy more towards either you call it growth or intimacy or purpose, and growing together side by side rather than always looking for the other person to fix you. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that when my experience is that when we're able to do that, like the relationship just goes to the next level as well.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's scary. Just the final remark, it's scary because at least in my experience in popular culture, there are not a lot of references for that. If you
Hmm.
take any TV show and like the vast majority of connection and relationship is very grabby, is very like if he dies, I'll die, things like that. And when you move to that, it's like no, that's not going to happen, and it's completely different. It's a most more blissful way of existence, but there are not many references, so it can be very
Yeah.
scary.
Cool. Thanks. We'll stop there. So why don't we just,
Yeah.
if people want to reach out to you to talk more about the sisterhood or anything that you do, where can they
I
reach you?
Yeah, well, I'm tagged in the
You are,
Facebook
yeah.
Live, so they can all message me directly. I have my message open. Um, that's probably the best way, or they can put in the comments as well. I'm happy to reply in the comments.
Great. Thank you. And for me, if any men are interested in connecting or working together or just talking about man stuff, I have a closed Facebook group called Integrated Man. I will post the link in the comments. So if anyone wants to join that group, please feel free to do so. Other than that, thanks, Detta. I think we should do this regularly.
Yeah,
It's fun.
it's fun. Bar the
Yeah,
technical difficulties, but it's fun.
right. And thanks everyone who came on the live to watch it. Share it with other people who you want brotherhood and sisterhood, or if you want your partners to watch this, share it.
Take care
All
then.
right. Thanks,
Thank you.
Tata.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.